fence expert. Who's that guy in that orange shirt? Who must be the fence expert? It's almost time to talk about the fences. It's time to discuss operations and expenses. It's time, it's really time to elevate small businesses. It's time for Joe to drop his knowledge, it's relentless. This rhyme of mine is getting a bit ridiculous. Here we go, we're live with Joe. Enjoy the show.
What is up, everybody? We have an incredible interview lined up for you guys today. I appreciate you tuning in. If you read the description, you already know my guest, the one, the only, Sam Williams, AFA, and to talk to us today about FenceTech. Sam, how are you?
Good, Joe. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing so well. It's been a little bit. How are you?
It has been a little while. I'm good, man. Just trying to stay alive in the fence world, man. It's a tight market out there. My goodness sakes.
Oh.
But it's going to be wild, I think, over the next 2 months. But yeah, we're good. Going.
I can't imagine the conversations here in a couple of weeks. About navigating all of the. Tariff talks are going to be on everybody's mind.
I agree.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. That's a whole different subject that we could talk on for a while. But so try to stay alive. That's a good. That's a good way to say it.
Last time it was COVID at Salt Lake City, trying to avoid the COVID conversation. Now we're avoiding the tariff conversation. So, hey, you know what? Salt Lake City just brings out the best in all of us, right?
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Next time we see Salt Lake City come around, we're all going to be a little bit nervous. Like,
we might just go, let's skip Salt Lake and go somewhere. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Salt Lake's an awesome facility.
I was going to say, not fair to Salt Lake City at all. It's
There's Salt Lake City.
it's an amazing place, but
It
oh
is.
man, that's the world we live in right now. Is it seems like everything's always constantly changing.
It is. It is wild. And, you know, as a manufacturer and distributor, we play in this game all the time and have forever. And, you know, what you've seen from all your different levels of people you talk to and what we've seen is just, it's going to be a wild year. I think, again, you know, just hoping the economy comes back around and we get put more fence in the ground. And, you know, I think I'm really hoping that everything's going to loosen up a little bit here and everybody can go back to doing what we need to do. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic, right? I mean, right now, a lot of big announcements, but then we're also seeing those announcements get walked back. So I think that's where everyone is right now. At least everybody I've talked to is just like, okay, before we press the panic button, let's just wait. Let's take a few breaths and see what actually ends up happening. But
I mean, work for a company that does that as well. We push it out, let's pull that out, let's pull that back. Yeah, everybody plays that game a little bit.
At the end of the day, the only thing that actually ends up happening is your blood pressure ends up rising a few levels there.
Then you get some fun, interesting emails. I mean, it makes for great over the bar stories. So, man, we're super excited about Salt Lake. Crap, we're only 10 days away or something crazy?
Right around the corner. It's craziness. Well, you know, a week from today, when this is going live on Saturday. So for a week from today, we're going to be packing and I'm going to be packing. You'll likely already either be there or be well on your way.
Yeah, we'll be there. I get in there on Sunday, wish the board good luck and all that fun stuff. I don't have to sit in those long meetings anymore. But yeah, no, we get to wish them luck, and then I get to go enjoy a bunch of the education classes and just sit in on some of those and then make sure the vendors are good.
There you go. Now, the week kicks off Monday with the leadership conference.
Absolutely.
Education kicks off Tuesday.
Yep.
Tuesday night, Pickets and Peaks, which is going to be – I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Now, I wasn't on last week's call, but there were over 1,000 already in the registration for Pickets and Peaks, and it is awesome. I mean, the really cool thing is Salt Lake's got some weird alcohol rules, and so people are going, man, why'd you have it at the ballroom? Why didn't we go offsite? And we got around some of that. So that's the nice thing is, so we get to treat this like any other party, any other city, and it's going to be a great time. And the ballroom's gorgeous, and so it's going to be a great time. And we did the site visit. I don't know, June or July, whenever we did it. And it's going to be a lot of fun down there. And I mean, Salt Lake's always had a special spot for me because obviously it's a vinyl capital for me and I've worked there for 25 years. So it's, I'm excited for it to be my FenceTech, and there's going to be a lot of cool stuff to do.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the pre-party or the pre-conference party was in the ballroom at Oklahoma City or in Nashville also. And I think anybody that went will agree it was an incredible time.
I felt like for what we pulled off the first time and just going, hey, here's the deal. We're just going to cover it. You just come and don't pay for it. Because it used to be, super limited. It was expensive to get into. It was almost like a little bit of an elite party. And now it's like, hey, come one, come all. And that's what Robert and Chance have brought to us. They put on the one in Oklahoma City. And those guys said, hey, here's the deal. Copy our model. We are the voice of the customer, right? And so copy our model and let's just combine this. Your budget, our model, let's make a huge party. So that's basically what we did.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Right. Last year was incredible. The first year at Oklahoma City, great. The second year, incredible. I'm looking forward to this year. I'm looking forward to the whole thing. I'm looking forward, but the party's going to be good.
The party's going to be fun. The party's going to be fun. I was at the Atlantic up there at the Garden State Fence Show, and I told all the new people coming, I said, trust me, go to the party Friday night. Yeah, the Fence Show is the Fence Show. It's good, but go to the party Friday night because that's the show.
Absolutely. Well, and talk about a networking opportunity. That's really what it turns into. It is what you make it, right? Yep. So if you want to just pop in, pop out, that's fine. But a lot of guys that I see that really enjoy it and get value out of it, they're there when it opens. They're getting kind of shoved out the door when it's over. And everything in the middle is just meeting people or seeing old friends, meeting new friends, playing some of the games. The bands last year were great. So it is what you make it, sort of thing.
I could not agree more. And that's, I mean, what you said about networking, I've been on the AFA boards now 14, 15 years, came in with Bobby Batchelor. We just kind of came up together, and it's funny because every year I only get to see him a couple times a year, but this is the event. We know that we are all going to go hang out. We're all going to go have dinner together. We're going to be buddies again for these 5 days. Then we're going to go do our job again. And so that's the really cool thing about FenceTech and just the networking that we get to do with everybody. And if you haven't got to experience that side of it yet, I'm telling you, that's the side that makes it all worth it.
Absolutely. Well, it's a workcation, right? I don't know about you, but when I go on a vacation, which love my family, I love spending time, but I end up like mentally climbing the walls sometimes where I'm like, I could be productive right now. I could be doing something. But this is kind of that. You get to see your friends, but also you're networking, you're building relationships, you're seeing old vendors, you're meeting new vendors. So it's a fun atmosphere to do that in, but you're also like accomplishing things as well.
Yeah. It's you get the projects and you get to do the projects. That's a cool thing about even the FenceTech floor. It's going to be one of the largest FenceTech floors we've ever done before, and the amount of vendors is bigger than Nashville. And so you take a look at the vendors that we have there. I'm telling you, you couldn't hardly cover it in a day if you truly want to have good conversation. No. It's going to take you some time, and if you dig in, I'm telling you, that's where you're going to find the gems. I mean, there's some vendors there that are going to be just crazy, crazy solid.
Yeah, absolutely. So my plan, we're skipping ahead a little bit, but when the show floor opens, my plan typically is the first day, so Wednesday afternoon, a short day to start. So my plan is I cruise through and I make notes and I just make asterisks. All right, we want to come back. I was like, I got all day the next day, the full day of just getting back and seeing everybody. And then the last day is usually just wrap up. Now that never happens because my cruising through turns into full-blown conversations, and by Friday I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't even see. We got to stop because I haven't seen half the people I wanted to yet. I mean, it's when you walk in. I remember my first FenceTech walking through the doors, and it's just like, oh man, like it's huge, and it's crazy for me to think that was San Antonio was my first FenceTech.
Yep.
Where we are in thinking that this year's bigger than last year, every year gets progressively bigger. Yeah. I can't imagine what somebody that's never been walking into Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, for where we were, even if they were at Salt Lake City 4 years ago, the numbers are so much different than where we're at now, and where this has grown to is they will see just a vast difference of a show. And so it's one of those, we have people go, well, should I just go every other year? I'm telling you, with consolidations and vendors and everything that's happening in our industry, it's changing fast. And you would think that maybe the floor is going to get smaller with consolidation. All it does is they just add more things to it. And this company goes, hey, there's an opportunity for me. I'm going to come in. And so it's a really good environment right now for the buyers.
Well, and one thing I noticed last year is there's a lot of vendors that weren't traditionally fencing vendors, but they're adding fencing offerings, right? Or they're adding their core offerings, and they found that fencers enjoy them also, right? So there's something new every year. Software alone, software changes by the day, much less by the year. I mean, these things could look drastically different year on year. I mean, and I'll say, Sam, my dad was one of the guys that did every other year back in the day, because he's like, oh, what could change? Oh no. It's like, and I try to tell him, because he's still he really doesn't understand why I go every year. Because like, the same ones are there, right? Like, well, like you said, they consolidate, or there's new ones pop up, or there's new offerings, or just what have you, right? It's like, and a lot of vendors, and I'm just thinking one off the top of my head, like Nationwide Industries, they tend to save their cool stuff for announcements for FenceTech, right? And so now, if you're on social media, if you have the internet, I'm sure you would find out about it eventually, but this is really the place to get hands-on access to it and access to the reps that know all about it. Like, this is where they're bringing the guys that know and gals that know everything about it. Like, I mean, could you learn without FenceTech? Sure, but this is kind of your shortcut to all the answers and all the new products as well. It just makes so much sense.
It does. And we bring all us as manufacturers, we bring our best salespeople to this. We bring out our best engineers to this to go, we want to be able to answer those questions that don't get answered. I know one of the big salespeople we have, he probably won't have very many customers here because he's far northeast, but he's one of the best talking people we have and can explain things as well as anybody. Great. I need you to come to Salt Lake City. And so that's what's great is you're going to see the best of the best. We all put our best foot forward and do put on the best showing we can. And it's going to be, I'm super confident it's going to be a great show. And one of the things I love doing is, you take a look at a Randy Ward. I love going and walking a fence show with Randy Ward because all I hear from him is, oh, that's cool. Hey, Sam, stop. We got to hear how that works. I want to hear how this works. I mean, I get more fun just watching him see all the new tools to play with. And because I'm a vinyl guy, right? He gets all excited over chain link tools. And I'm like, Randy, hey, I don't want to look like an idiot, but can you tell me what the hell that's used for?
What am I looking at here?
It's good. Yeah, it's good. So no, man, I tell you what, it's one of my favorite weeks of the year.
Well, and it seems like, too, I've been guilty of this, of walking past a booth that has been there the last 3, 4, 5 years and seeing something as if for the first time. Like, oh, wait. Absolutely. What? It's talking about tools. Like, what are these? Like, are these new? And they're like, no, we've had them here for the last 3 years. No kidding. Well, talk me through this. How does this work? So it's also a great opportunity just to see things maybe you were at the right place in your business to see, or just for whatever reason, the time was right that particular day to see that particular item. I think it happens all the time.
And you could get in some of those tool booths. You could be there all day and probably still not see them all.
Oh,
and Mr. Sean King's got more stuff, and then you can deal with. So I love just walking by being like, "Holy cow, this is wild!" And again, it's all about efficiencies. If you can find a tool out there at a vendor that will change your efficiencies by 5%, look what that does to your bottom line. I mean, that just changes everything.
Over the course of a year?
Yep.
Like whatever the cost of that tool was, I guarantee. Like that is a whole subject of it to itself. Is that but those are the ideas, right? Is that you can using Sean King as a great example, you can literally just walk and be like, "What's new?" Well, everything is new. Because they're constantly innovating too, right? And finding new ways to find efficiencies. And it's not just these these specific examples, but I think they are good examples of ways that. Every year there's something new to see and there's new conversations. Now you mentioned also having engineers there. I think that is a game changer for a lot of the national vendors is because I've got questions about how things work. I've used a latch for the last 30 some odd years. I know how it works, but sometimes I don't know why, or it's like, why didn't we do it this way? Or why didn't we do it that way? Having the engineers there to kind of explain or to maybe explain some problems I'm having. We've done that with a couple of vendors to say, hey guys, I know where you're coming from on this, but if it tweaked a little bit, it sure made my life a whole lot easier. And having an engineer there is just a different level of a discussion. Again,
a secret to get past some of this is when you go up to a booth, you get by the first salesperson, you get by his boss, then the engineer's sitting in a chair in the middle of the booth. When you get to them, then you're going to get your questions answered. So get past the outside, get to the inside. That's where all the people who write the checks are sitting and can make those tweaks.
That's the person to talk to. Now, Sam, we jumped ahead a little bit because we jumped ahead to the show floor. We went straight from the party to the floor, but there's a really important part right here in the middle. One, education, still going on Wednesday.
Yep.
Let's talk about the keynote speaker.
Oh, man, I'm telling you what. So, joined FenceTech committee 4 years ago. So, basically how it does is as you're coming up through the board, incoming president, it's your first year on, then president, you're on, past president, second time past president removed, you're the FenceTech chair. So, this is my 4th year on. And so, every year we get to basically help pick the keynote speaker. So every year they have all these different things come through, and man, you see some of the big names come through, and you're like, "Oh, that one's $100,000. Oh, this one's crazy. That one's crazy. Oh yeah, we'd love to have Taylor Swift or whatever it is. Who knows what it is?" But anyways, of course, whether you would or not, I'll just leave that out there. I just step into crap. Sorry, Joe. And so, Bobby Batchelor brought up a keynote a year ago and said, "Hey, you guys should see this guy. I seen him at a NASCAR banquet one time. He's pretty stinking solid." And we kind of just blew through it. Yeah, that's cool. And this year, Bobby pushed a little bit harder. And he said, "Hey, I've got this guy that I think we really need to take a strong look at. And so we all got jumping into his bios. We were really kind of struggling finding the right fit for where the country was or where we were guessing it was going to be. Because again, we picked this last May, right?
Sure.
So we're guessing where the country is going to be at this time. And I'm telling you what, we are so excited to have Van Morris there. So little side story. I asked Bobby's permission before I did it because I didn't want to steal AFA's thunder. And of course, two completely different industries. But I play in the motorsports world as well. And so I reached out to Bobby and I said, hey, I got a huge indoor event, 5 days, 10,000 seat arena. We're going to be about half to 3/4 full this year. You cool if I reach out to Van and bring him in for Friday night? Because I want to do a big veterans appreciation. We put all of our officials in red, white, and blue. The whole arena was red, white, and blue, right? It's a brand new 2-year-old facility, $170 million facility, all red, white, and blue. We can do really cool things there. We own our own pay-per-view company, yada, yada, yada. So we bring in Van Morris. And my kids are part owners. They run a lot of the company. Obviously, Alexa Churchwell helps us, being my girlfriend and all that kind of stuff. So we all work together on this thing because we wanted to bring in Van Morris. And my kids, for what he costs for our small company, scared the crap out of us, right?
Sure.
And my son, who's 22 years old and an owner of the company, is like, Dad, man, I don't know what you're thinking. This is craziness, right? So we bring Van in and he comes in and he's very patient with us. Because we don't operate like we should be in a 10,000 seat arena. He's very patient with us, and we put on a really good front. And he walked us through, hey, this is how we're going to do this. Let's go get a color guard. Let's do this. Let's do that. So we did it all, and we did it right. And I'm telling you what, Joe, that guy, there was not a dry eye in the place, and there was not one person sitting on their hind end. And I mean, when he got done, if you have not heard somebody that's inspirational towards veterans, and I'll put this guy above anybody you've heard. I mean, this guy is so amazing and so dynamic. So fast forward a little bit. So I have a national anthem singer. She's 14 years old. She's blind, never seen a day in her life. She has just got a voice that just won't stop, right? And so she sings our national anthem, just tugs at Van's heart. Van Morris goes back. They go to a dressing room. I get sent a video the next morning. I don't even know what it is, right? Somebody just sends me a video and I'm like, oh, that's cool. What is this? I open it and it's Van Morris sitting down, just the two of them, my national anthem singer and Van Morris are sitting there, and Van is singing to her America the Beautiful, giving her back. Let me bless you like you just blessed this whole crowd. And I'm telling you, Joe, I'll send you that video so you can put it in your comments. But I'm telling you what, this man, he lives it. He doesn't get up there and speak. He doesn't do all this stuff because Bobby Bachelor says it best. When you walk out, you're just a touch taller. You're just a touch taller when you walk out, because if you're not, my son said it best on a podcast one time. He said, if that doesn't touch you, you're not an American. Because I'm telling you what, this guy is, it'll be amazing. I promise you, don't miss it. It's part of your registration. You've already paid for it. Come. I promise you, you will not be sad.
Well, and if I had an interview with him a couple weeks ago. If you guys haven't watched that, please do. Not for me. Please go watch it for him. Guys, I about ran through this wall like the Kool-Aid man, just on fire, right? Yeah. Just inspired, ready to go. Guys, look up Van Morris. He's got a great bio page. He's got a couple videos on there that it will get you ready for this, I promise. Now, Sam, I was telling them, I was like, it seems like I leave FenceTech, the keynote speech, just every year. I'm like, I don't know how you improve on that. What do you do? Where do you go from here? This year, I legitimately, like, sometimes you just say that, right? But this year, I don't know. Like, good luck next year. It's going to be tough.
So our motorsports event is 26, 27 hours over 5 days, right? We're having the same question of, what in the world do we even back that up with? I have no idea what to do. And we have some of the best action in all of motorsports at this event. I'm going, I don't even know what to do to even trump that. So the cool thing is Bobby Bachelor, Bobby Bachelor brings it to us as an idea, right? Next year's Bobby Bachelor's FenceTech, and I said, you gave me the good one. Good luck.
I don't know what you're going to do.
That's right.
Should have kept that one in his pocket.
100%. No, I'm telling you what, before where our country's at today and the uncertainty and the split that's going on in our country, right down the middle, I'm telling you, this guy is one of those guys that you will not think red, blue. You don't think anything besides red, white, and blue when you come out. I promise you. That's where he's at.
Well, and that's the thing is I joke about Bobby keeping him in his back pocket, but this is the year, right? This is the year for this message. And I'm a big believer in everything in its own time, right? Like everything happens for a reason. You know, the timing is what it is for a reason. This is the year for this message. I really believe it. He told us the story. I had told him, I was like, Mr. Morris, I would love just follow you and just hear the interactions you have with random people. He told a story about he was I want to say he was at a fast food restaurant, right, waiting for an order, and somehow the Pledge of Allegiance came up, and he got in this conversation, and he asked her, he's like, let me ask you, what's a punctuation at the end of the sentence? And, is it a period, a question mark, an exclamation point? She said, well, it's probably a period. And he's like, no, it's a question. But just to hear him explain this, I was like, this was a random interaction that he had with someone just out in the wild, right? Just out in public. I can't imagine what his daily life is like. Just his mission is just to inspire everyone that he comes in contact with. I don't want to put too fine of a point on this, but it's awesome. You have got to make time to be at this keynote. Some people miss the keynote. Some people are skipping the keynote to get ready. Big mistake.
Agreed.
You will miss half the value of FenceTech if you are not in a seat for this keynote. And you better find a seat, because it's anyone that knows him or has either watched the interview and heard him talk, or just they will be there early. I will be there early to try to get as far forward as I can. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be fantastic.
It is. And it's one of those things that when you hear him, you watch his YouTube videos, you watch the different things that he's done. They're great.
Oh yeah.
They don't even compare to him in life. And that's so many times it's when we pick a keynote speaker, we're like, okay, they're going to send us their best material, right? Because they're going to try to get you to hire them. They're going to send you their best. I've seen the guy live. I've hung out with him behind the scenes for hours. Alexa was his right hand and made sure that everything was set up for him. And she's like, Sam, the heart on that guy, just wait till the night. Because we had him at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Deal was at 7 o'clock at night. And the heart on this man is amazing. He even come back the second night and goes, what else can I do? What else can I do to help bring more awareness to veterans? Because can you show me where the military men are? Where are they? I want to go talk to them. I want to go. He just wants to be involved. I know he's doing that at FenceTech. He wants to be involved in the veterans group. He wants to be involved in all this stuff. He's going to come to Eastern's booth. We've got a commitment from him to come down there and meet and greet with people. He's not one of these guys that's going to jump on an airplane and go home. He's like, I want to be part of your people. These are my people. And that's him. I'm telling you, I can't say enough good about him. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan.
Well, and we'll continue to hear the name, right? So a lot of keynote speakers, I mean, you hear them that year, and then obviously there's somebody new the next year. One of the things he had talked about was wanting to stay active in the Veterans in Fence. One of the special interest groups within the American Fence Association, that he was asking, how can I get plugged in? How can I champion this? How can I be involved with this as much as possible? I mean, we'll be introduced to him at the keynote, but I have a feeling he's going to stay involved with the Veterans in Fence for probably years to come. Knowing, to your point, knowing his heart, I mean, that's something that's very special to him.
I agree. And he lives it every day. He lives it. And it is. Yeah, it's powerful. Here was the cool thing is my entertainer comes out of Walla Walla, Washington, great guy. And he's like, Sam, I haven't met very many people like this. He goes, this guy's for real. And what's crazy is both of them just practicing. The little young lady got to practice her national anthem. Both of them immediately turned around, hand over just the amount of respect that man has for the flag. In mid-conversation, just doing a run-through, heard the national anthem, and Van Morris was dead on the flag. Where am I at? Here's the flag. Everything. Nope. Just quit talking. Van, she's going to sing 3 bars. This is where I'm at. And it's the amount of respect that my kids got to see. And then when he talks about that, is bringing this generation up as a respect for our flag, because it is so missing right now, that my kids at 22 and 20 walked away going, that was one of the coolest things I've seen. That was pretty cool. And for kids don't act like that anymore. And that's what made me proud was, hey, if we changed 50 kids in this stadium, if we got somebody else to just respect just a little bit more for that flag and for what America represents, we did our job.
Mission accomplished. Absolutely. Well, and that's one thing he had talked about, that he loves going to schools, elementary, middle school, high school. He loves going to schools to try to reach that generation, right? To say, I've got a message. I want to invest this in them to try to inspire them, to try to rekindle that fire, right? That seems to be a bit missing. Guys,
and you've seen his rate sheet, Joe. He sent us over his rate sheet. Hey, it costs this much for an arena event. It costs this. You go back up to a school, free.
No
Get me
kidding.
into a school, free. Yep.
No
and,
kidding.
It's expensive to bring him into an arena or an American Fence Association, one of those, right? Because he's got to pay for all this. But he pays for all of his school visits by doing those. Free. Anything that veterans funeral, free. School, free. I mean, and again, I don't want to misspeak, but I mean, it was, if I remember the rate sheet right, it was all those things that actually matter were free. And that's what's awesome about him, is he lives it every day. So if I can get you to come to one thing, the party's going to be great. FenceTech's going to be great. Don't miss the keynote. You've already paid for it. I promise you, it is worth your price of admission.
I absolutely agree. Just like you and I did before I press record on this, I spent a little bit of time just getting to know, trying to make sure I understand where the conversation's going. He is legitimately the same person, just in a casual conversation, than he is, because sometimes that's not the case, right? To your point, sometimes you get the highlight reel sent to you, and then it's a little bit different when the camera's not on, right? When we're not recording. Same human,
100%.
Just legitimately interested.
And you'll meet him in the hallway, Joe, and somebody who's never met him before is going to meet him, see him walking down the deal, and he's going to be the same exact when he meets that person, especially if he finds out they're a veteran. He finds out they're a veteran, just to listen to those conversations and be a fly on the wall, absolutely amazing.
And to hear his story of where he came from and what he accomplished to get to that, guys, you should, like I said, I'm tooting my own horn. I fully understand I'm tooting my own horn, but if you haven't seen it, you should go back and watch it. Just skip to his story. Skip me completely, but you want to hear the story. It's so good. It's so good.
It is. No.
Keynote's happening Wednesday. Happen. So education, keynote, they better open the doors quick. Because like I said, I think some people are going straight through the wall, right into the trade show floor. Opening ceremony directly following the keynote. Show floor opens Wednesday, right after the opening ceremony. Wednesday afternoon. Thursday all day. And then Friday morning. So we've got a solid 2 days, 2 days over 3, if that makes sense, but of uninterrupted. Get in there, meet with the vendors. Now, Sam, let me ask you a question, because I've seen it a couple times in the groups. There's a cost associated with getting on the show floor.
There is.
And so why do I pay to get on the show floor when I'm probably going to do business with somebody on the show floor? Why does it cost me money to get into that room?
So we'll talk about the why, then we'll talk about how to get around it a little bit. So
perfect.
Let's talk about the why first. So the why of why we're doing it is, what we did in the past was we had a very similar registration fee without the pickets and peaks or the opening party. Obviously, we talked about that. And the keynote was an additional fee. And so what we've done now is we've tried to include the best of the best to give you the best experience you can at FenceTech. So this pays for everything. So this pays for when you get to the opening party, there's going to be vendors handing out drink tickets. There's going to be all this kind of stuff. You're going to spend very little at a party that is going to be blow your doors off, right? And then people go, well, man, I can only get to Wednesday afternoon. I can't get to the party. I can't get to the keynote. I can only come to Wednesday afternoon. Reach out to one of your big vendors. If you reach out to one of your big vendors, A lot of them have tickets and they have ways around that they want to help you out. If it is really that is the barrier of entry for you to coming to FenceTech, do not let it be the barrier of entry. Find ways around it. Go on any of these fence professional groups on Facebook. You put an ad out there, you put a post out there, you PM these guys, they're all over the place. If you've seen some of them that are out there, there's 30 messages going, reach out to me. I'll get you credit on tools. I mean, Sean King, hey, whatever you spend, I'll give you that credit on tools. I'll do this, I'll do that. These guys want you there. Come, just find a way, and I guarantee you won't be sad. It's well worth the price of admission. And again, think about next year. Do the early bird discounts, do some of those things. It's half the price. So it's at the last minute at the door, is a little bit more expensive, but man, reach out to those Facebook groups. You'll find a way in.
Well, or any of your current vendors.
Any of your current vendors, yep.
There's a really good chance one, or if not several of your current vendors have tickets available, right?
Yes.
That can get you onto the show floor. And if you get on the show, if you get that ticket, now also you're automatically into the pre-party and the keynote. Is that right? Even with the vendor ticket?
Once you got the once you got the badge, you got the badge. So all you need to get into keynote or into the opening party is just the badge.
Perfect.
Yep.
So even if you're paying the full price, which there should be a way to where you don't have to, but even if, think about the value you're getting, to your point of the opening party, incredible. I mean, if you haven't been, I understand it's hard to understand maybe. Go once and then it will all click in. Opening party, keynote, like I said, I would pay the ticket price to have a seat in that 100%. Auditorium to listen to him talk.
100%.
And it's not even a question. And also access to the show floor, seeing everybody there. But to your point, Sam, if you reach out to any of your current vendors, one of them, all of them, very possibly have a ticket available, or reach out to somebody in the groups. I'll say this. If you're watching this, if you've reached out to your vendors and didn't have luck, if you went to the groups and didn't have luck, reach out to me personally. I will connect you with somebody. I promise. Yeah, we will find a way to get you there, because that shouldn't be your barrier of entry, right? Like that. If you find a way to get yourself there and you be present, we will get you in the doors, I promise. And all it will take is that first year.
It is. You'll pay it after that, never have an issue with it, and be like, my goodness sakes, I just got to get there, because that fee is nothing. What I gained in knowledge, experience, efficiencies, all that kind of stuff, I guarantee you, most people come their first year and go, wow. Second year, they buy the full package and going, there's 47 classes going on back here that I could have attended. Oh my gosh. All the people that I watch on the fence professionals groups, all those guys are teaching classes. Holy cow. I can sit in on almost all of those for that same price. And so it's, I'm telling you, I get the benefit being coming up through the boards and all that kind of stuff and just going from class to class and seeing the backside of this. The amount of preparation that goes into this show. We start having FenceTech meetings. I don't know. It seemed like freaking August, but it's like once a month in August. Then we get to November. They go to every other week. Now we're every week all the way up. This whole year we've been all every week. And so, I mean, it is a lot of work to get there, but these guys want to give every call is, how do we give the best experience we can to the fence contractor who is out there trying to make a living for their family? That's all we care about. That is all the goal is when we get on those calls every week.
Well, and I'll say this is, if you've only ever been in our industry, it's hard to know what's going on in others, right? But I will tell you, I've been to other trade organization type expos. A multi-day pass can get kind of spendy, especially for an event this large with this much value. Like I said, I understand if you haven't been to one of those, it's hard to see that. But even at full price, it's still pretty good value compared to others.
It is.
But and I don't know of another one where the vendors have access to passes either. Sometimes they'll have a limited amount or something like that. But anyway, guys, but I can understand if you've only ever been in this industry, you just don't have that experience. But this is an incredible value. And compared to in the automotive space, in the auto sports arena, some of those expos, like this expo, how well it's done, how well FenceTech is done, is a bit unusual too, in terms of the preparation, how well it's pulled off, how well it's organized. Some of these expos are just like you show up and maybe something's there. To your point, you guys are having meetings where the intent is, how do we get better? How do we make it better? How do we bring more value? So I got to be at mid-year which FenceTech was involved, but it wasn't. It was the whole AFA. But just watching those interactions, where the AFA in general, the subject is, how do we be better? How do we bring more value? I feel fortunate to be in that situation, be in an industry with an association that has that level of intent behind bringing value to its members.
And if you look at just the list of classes, I would just challenge you just to go look at the list of just the titles of the classes, because it's from everybody for the first time. If you decided tomorrow, I'm going to go grab a pair of post hole diggers and I'm going to figure this out myself, or if you're said, hey, we're fourth generation and we got some really cool tricks we do here, there's a class for everybody, and then multiple classes. And I watch some of the young guys coming up teaching these classes, and they've watched the classes ahead of them and went, I got a few tricks for that. Let me show you the new way of doing this, Grandpa. I'm gonna show you how this is done. And that's the cool thing, is there's something for everybody. And that's AFA sometimes gets a bad rap of, it's the big guy, it's only for the manufacturers, it's always for the giants. That's not true. When you get down to our grassroots, where we're at, I came on as a manufacturer, right? I'm from the manufacturing world. I was not that accepted on the board at the first time, going, oh, you're a manufacturer. And we're really contractor based. We're contractors, but we'll put up with you. You're an okay guy. But at the end of the day, that is a contractor based industry, and it's a contractor based association. And that's where we're at, and that's where we'll always be. And it's the chapter level was my big thing when I became president of the AFA, is I wanted to bring the chapters back in as relevant, and we are going to be the association for the chapters, because that's our grassroots to the contractors. And AFA hasn't changed one bit, and we are hammered down to make this as successful as we can for those contractors. And I promise you come once, you won't regret it.
And that's it. If you come once, get yourself there, experience it, and then it clicks, right? Yep. Now, let me put an asterisk on that. Is you get out of it what you put into it.
100%.
I've seen the conversations that happen in these groups of, I went once, I walked the floor for a few hours, I didn't get it, I left, I'll never go back. Or I don't know if anybody said that, but you get out what you put into it too, right? So when I say it clicks, when you show up with intent to learn, to be a sponge, to make network connections, to meet people, whether from all over the country, sometimes all over the world. A lot of times I met some guys from Australia that were there. Like, you meet people from all over. If you show up with an intent to be better, whether it's through the 47 educational courses, the network events, Pickett's Peaks, and otherwise, the show floor connections you can make. If you show up with intent, that's when it clicks. This is like a lot of things in life. I can't think of anything in life where you just show up and you just are heaped on with value and you don't have to put anything into it. Yeah. It doesn't seem to work that way in life in general. So hear me when I say that it will click, and you will automatically see the value if you show up with that intent, if you show up ready to learn and ready to grow. And like you said, I can pick apart anything. If I walk into a room, I can pick it apart. It's all the mentality I'm going in with. If I'm going in with the mentality to say, I'm going to be a better person, a better contractor, and a more efficient contractor when I leave here than when I walked in, that's what you'll get out of it. If you go in to say, I'm going to prove the AFA is a big giant and I don't want any part of it, you can find that stuff. You can dig and you'll find it, right? Sure. And so at the end of the day, when you walk in, it's like let's go back to that party in Oklahoma City. Robert Whitaker and Chance did not like any part of the way we were doing our party, right? And they said, hey, guys, we want to do something for the contractors. And it was not a ding at the AFA. It was, you got a lot of great people here. We're going to throw a really good party. They could have done that at Nashville, Salt Lake City, and all this. Instead, they come and they said, hey,
we've got this, you've got this. If we combined, we got a pretty solid deal here. And now what's crazy is Robert and Chance sit on our FenceTech calls. And all of a sudden they're going, yeah, I know we're done talking about the party. Do you mind if we just hang out and listen to the rest of it? And then all of a sudden it's, hey, we can add a little bit of value here. Hey, when we talk about the history panel of the AFA and this and that, what if we added this or that? Or what if we did this kind of display? This is pretty important to the contractor. That's giving back. That is saying, hey, I'm not going to be part of the problem. I'm going to be part of the solution. And that's, if you want to be part of the solution, reach out to me. I'll find you a way to get you plugged into the AFA. If you're an AFA, if you go to FenceTech and you're walking around going, gosh, how do I get involved? I did it for 10 years. I went to Anaheim was my first FenceTech 100 years ago, right? That I would clear back to then. And I went to FenceTech for 12 years before I even knew there was a board meeting going on in the back room. I got suckered into a board meeting my first time and went, oh my gosh, these are the decision makers right here. This is amazing. How do I get to be part of this? 13 years later, I was president of the AFA because I never stopped pushing. If you want to be involved, we'll get you plugged in as fast as you want to get plugged in. So be part of the solution, not part of the problem, because we can all be part of the problem.
Well, and let me add to that. So talking about the board, and you're talking about the national board, right? The national AFA. Board. There's also regional chapter boards.
Absolutely.
I serve on the Midwest chapter. I mean, obviously the best chapter in the AFA of the country. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm sure the Carolinas don't have anything to say about that, or Florida or Texas, or really any of them.
Or any of the rest of them.
I'm sure they would agree.
Terry Fielding's going to agree with you the whole way.
Sure. Whether you look at the national board or one of these regional boards, to your point earlier, you see contractors, right? And I'm not talking about, I mean, there are individuals from large contractors, right? Mm-hmm. But you also see owner operators on each of these boards, right? And I would, to your point earlier, because I hear the same thing. This is only for the big guys. This is not. You go to FenceTech and you start walking around, you start meeting people, right? Hey, here's who I am. Who are you and where are you from? And tell me a little bit about your business. Guys, if there's one thing fence guys love talking about, it's their businesses, right? Exactly. Like that'll start a whole half-hour conversation. If you need help, here's a tip for you. If you need help meeting people, just right out in the middle of the show floor and just say, "I've got it worse than any of you, the rest of you, because I hit rocks when I dig post,"
right?
And then just a whole crowd will form around you, and they will tell you how they get roots, okay, and you haven't lived if you haven't tried to dig through clay. You'll meet all sorts of new friends. But when you're meeting these people, dollars to donuts, the majority of these people are small business owners, right? Owner operators, contractors that are in the field, what have you. If I'm going to guess at this, I'm going to guess 5 crews or less, right? Or probably the majority of the individuals walking this show floor.
Agreed.
Because I had those thoughts in the beginning, right? Of like, I don't know if this is a right fit for us because we're not there yet. We're still growing, this and that. But then I went and I met a few people. I was like, oh, these are my people. These are my people. Like, this is because I think if you look at the cross section of the country as a whole of fence companies in the country, I think by and large, that's the majority, right? Is the owner operators, smaller businesses. Now, the absolutely coolest thing ever is when you run into one of these companies that are multi-location, a larger company, still some of the most down-to-earth people. I was talking to a gentleman that fits this description. No idea he fit this description until we were like an hour into a conversation about hunting or something like that. And then it was, wait, that name sounds familiar. Who are you with? And then it's like, oh, no kidding. Got it. Wow. I feel like I'm in the wrong conversation all of a sudden because... But that's the neat thing about this industry in general, but especially this event is the people that show up are like that, right? So it's not just for the big fish in a small pond. It's not just for the multi-location, the 10 crews, however you define large. The majority of the people there are owner operators, a few crews. If that's you, these are your people, sort of thing.
100% agree. And that's the cool thing is, I enjoyed FenceTech my first however many years, but once I got involved and got doing these different things, I met some of my best friends, and they're
Yep.
big contractors, small contractors, manufacturers. It don't matter, but I guarantee you, if I have a problem and I call them, they'll be here tomorrow. And that's where it's at. And that's what I love about our industry is we are salt of the earth people. It doesn't matter which side, how big you are, how small you are. Everyone is a resource. Everyone is a friend that you make, and you can choose to take them in and out of your life as you want to. And that's the biggest thing is I've watched these board meetings, and he'll kill me if I call him out, but if you watch a Bobby Batchelor who is part of a pretty good organization, sitting next to a small contractor. The small contractor doesn't realize all the dynamics and telling him how business is going to operate. It's great because you're just going, oh, that's kind of cool to watch. Let's just sit back and watch this one for a little bit. And 9 times out of 10, they both teach each other something. And that's the cool thing is nobody cares. Nobody totes and goes, well, do you know how big you never see it ever. Nope. It is. Nope. I could be small again tomorrow. All we have is a few things go wrong. We're right back there. So they know, they appreciate how they got there, and they respect the people who are coming up. And that's what I like.
Well, and a lot of them have been there before.
100%.
Right. A lot of them either in their generation or if it's a multi-generation, like everyone came from somewhere. Right. Yeah. And I feel like the majority of people understand that. And I feel like I am blessed to be in the position I am. I should turn around and help the next guy try to get a little bit further ahead, right? Yeah. And that I picked that up from this industry, right? Yeah. And from family and the family culture and all that, but it's not unique, right? Yeah. And I've had this happen where, I mean, I'll call him out, Matt Warner. I met Matt through industry associations, and talk about somebody that's where I aspire to be. And if I called Matt today, is like, to your point, hey, buddy, I've got a problem and I'm trying to figure it out. It's okay. Well, let me clear. What are you doing for the next hour? Let's sit down and get into this and figure this out with you. Those are the connections you make at events like this, right? Is just connecting with people like that.
And he was a sales manager for a fence company 45 minutes away and went, I think I could build this myself. Him and his wife, she worked at State Farm with my ex-wife, and they worked side by side. And at the end of the day, Matt just goes, you know what? I think I can do this a little bit better. I want to build a culture. And he started building this whole company around a culture and what we can build. And this is just a product. The product is nurtured by the culture we put around it. And he went with that whole philosophy and built an empire now in Waverly, Nebraska that, you know what I mean? It's just, those are stories that I knew Matt when he was working for another fence company, and it's just so cool to see where this industry is coming from. But you get with Matt in a conversation, you would never know what they've built, because he'll take his shirt off his back and be like, "Hey, man, let me help you out, brother. I got you. What product can I send you to help you out?" Yeah. I mean, it's just that solid. When we're doing a project for veterans, or we're doing a project for somebody in need, I don't even worry about it. I'm like, oh yeah, let me call my fence family. I'll send out 5 emails. I'll have 4 of them say, I'll get it there tomorrow. The other one just didn't check his email fast enough. And so, I mean, that's what I love about it. I mean, I reached out to 2 people in Salt Lake City and said, hey, I need a backdrop for the podcast. They're like, yeah, man, just let me know what day you need it. We'll have it there for you. I'm like, perfect, thanks. Done.
But that's our industry. That's our industry. And guys, these are the people that are going to be at the event. Right. Absolutely. The guys that would love to do anything for you, because they likely had somebody like that help them, right? That said, hey, I'll do anything for you to watch you succeed. Though that's the room you're walking into, whether you're walking into Pickets and Peaks, whether you're walking into Keynote, any of the educational, the show floor, that's the room you're walking into, is that group of people just willing to, they don't know you yet, but they're ready to watch you succeed. Right. And they'd love to be a part of that, just watching your success. That is the value. There's a lot of other value. There's obviously the educational value. But the networking, I think, is the key value here. Is just what connection can I make? Who can I meet? Who can I help? And who maybe is a step ahead of me that maybe could show me the way. That I feel like that's really the value.
Absolutely. For 20 years, we've asked the same basic exit questions coming out of FenceTech of, what did you find the most value in? What did you do this? Networking is always number one. Networking is always number one because that's what we're there for. I look forward to seeing the projects. I look forward to having the party. I look forward to doing all that, going to the past president's dinner, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I get to see my friends. I get to see my friends, hang out with my friends, talk fence, compare stories of what we all went through the last year, 2 years, whatever it is, and the COVID to drop off to all the crazy ebb and flow we've had, right? Don't even look at these numbers because they're not even valid. So we all got to live that.
Yep.
And we get to talk about it. We get to share our experiences and, hey, man, how are we all going to make it? No, how's your family doing? How's this doing? Everybody doing okay? How'd the surgery go? That's what I love about FenceTech. And I'm telling you, you can go and you will find the value. Well, you said it best, Joe. You'll find the value that you seek out. And if you seek out to find the bad value, that's what you're going to find. If you go there to find positive value, it is everywhere.
It's a gold mine ready to be extracted. It really is. But you got to go there ready to get it. You got to go there ready to get it.
Yep.
Sam, we've spent a while talking about it. I feel like we could keep going. But
that's good stuff, man.
You know, I'm excited to be there, excited to see you, excited to see all my Fence family, right? And meet new Fence family. And it seems like every time I go, I meet a handful of people I'd never met before that all of a sudden become my best friends, you know, for the next period of time. It's gonna be here before we know it. A week from today, I'm gonna be packing everything up, getting ready to get on a plane and head north. So
that's where I am. Sunday, a week from tomorrow, we'll be on airplanes and head that direction. So couldn't be more excited. It'll be a fun experience. And again, if you get there and you do have a bad experience, find one of us. I mean, we're in the AFA booth. Find us in the AFA booth. Talk to us about it because I'm guaranteeing you, none of it was intentional. So if there is a concern or a question that you have, just come to the AFA booth and talk to us. We would love to hear you, meet you, and just get to know your story.
Yeah, there's a cross wire somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
don't be frustrated.
Everyone, and that's the thing, is this is a constantly evolving thing too, right? Yep. So if you've got a question, somebody else probably has that same question. So
absolutely,
don't ever be afraid to ask it.
Agreed.
All right, so Sam, for the last minute, folks that haven't made their registrations, how can someone register for FenceTech?
Basically, at this point, I would say that we're the Saturday before. I would just come and register on site. It's a super simple process on site when you get there. They will have all the kiosks set up for you. You just go right into the line there, and they'll get you all set up and ready to go. The Fusion team that they put together, that they bring in to manage the entire show. Last year, we were so worried about lines at Nashville because there were so many people registered, 7,500 people coming through, and we were prepared for 4,000. I mean, but the line was never more than an hour. So just get there early, especially keynote, get there early. That's going to be big. But just come on-site registration, exhibits only. If it's a first time for you, barrier of entry cost has got a concern. We've given you a bunch of avenues to reach out, find it. There is all kinds of avenues out there.
Yeah, we'll get you on the floor one way or the other. Just reach out to somebody. Like, I think, again, we're all here to help. So we'd love to see you succeed, and this is a good first step towards that.
Yep.
Sam, thank you so much for making time to come on. I appreciate it. I really do.
Man, thanks for everything you do for the AFA and the fence industry. I love watching your episodes, and it's cool to be back on here, man. Thank you.
You're welcome. Guys, so if you'd like more information, show up and come on and come in. We'd love to see you guys there. For now, Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences, Sam, make good neighbors.
I'm gonna tell you.
We'll see.